Welcome back to Nostalgia Rewind, Season 2.
Woo!
If you enjoyed last season, all 4 of you, we got more coming.
Yeah, boys.
I'm West.
I'm Kris.
And let's see what's on today's menu.
So today we're watching Arachnophobia.
Bum 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 bum, which is the fear of spiders. If you didn't know.
Yes, if you weren't aware. So Arachnophobia came out in 1990, and the synopsis: a species of South American killer spider hitches a lift to the U.S. in a coffin and starts to breed and kill.
Dun dun dun.
It stars Jeff Daniels, Julian Sands, John Goodman, Harley Jane Kozak, Stuart Pankin, Brian McNamara, Mark L. Taylor, Henry Jones, Peter Jason, James Handy.
That's a funny last name. James Handy. I'm a handy man.
Roy Brocksmith, Kathy Kinney.
Yeah.
Mary Carver.
After 3 of these actors of like reading off from IMDb, I'm always like, don't know any of these people.
Yeah. I mean, but to be fair, you don't know anybody.
True. So 90s flick, so it's like a fine wine. Let's see if it aged well.
So this is actually a movie neither of us watched.
Yeah, and I actually tried recalling it earlier this week. I'm like, oh yeah, Arachnophobia, and I kept thinking of 8-Legged Freaks, which is a campier horror movie of spiders as well.
Yes. So, I mean, the whole reason we decided to do this movie is we're doing a 30-day horror movie, so a movie a day for a month. But we're doing movies that neither of us have seen yet, and just I guess movies just that we've been wanting to watch, right? That we just never get around to because we're like, well, let's just rewatch The Office. So we're forcing ourselves to watch a movie a day. So and instead of watching 2 movies, doing one for
kill 2 birds with 1 stone.
Yeah, for the podcast and one for our 30-day movie thing. We decided to just choose, a horror movie we've been wanting to watch, but that neither of us had seen.
Yes. So I have no expectations in this movie because I honestly, once I saw that Jeff Daniels was in it, I'm like, I don't know any spider movie with Jeff Daniels in it, so I have no expectations. I don't know if it did well. I don't know if it was well received. I don't know if it's a campy horror movie or if it's one of the better ones.
It's a comedy. It's categorized as a comedy fantasy horror. So
PG-13. Where's the fantasy come in? That's what the interesting part is.
Maybe there's giant spiders
from South America, because I guess that's where the killer spiders live. Yeah.
I don't know.
We'll see. We'll chime in with what makes it a fantasy, because honestly, the cover looks like Charlotte's Web.
It kind of does. This poster, like, if it didn't say the word arachnophobia on it, I'd be like, oh,
yeah, this poster
is a charming spider movie.
Yeah, look it up. The Arachnophobia poster is a moon in the middle with like a beautiful sunset, purple blue sky with the stars in the sky, and like honestly it looks like Charlotte's Web. You just put a pig down there.
If you just take out the title, it's like, oh yeah, that could be, especially because it looks like it's drawn or painted or whatever.
It honestly looks like an animated movie poster.
It does.
And it looks fun.
It's kind of misleading.
Yeah, you can even put Disney on that and be like, yeah, that fits. That fits. But then it says Arachnophobia, so it's kind of,
and you're like, huh,
juxtaposing. So
yeah. I actually tried watching this movie a long time ago, and I couldn't get past, I want to say, like the first 5 or 10 minutes because of my fear of spiders, because of my arachnophobia.
Yeah,
it was too much.
PG-13, so I'm assuming that you can handle it now. I mean, right?
I don't know. I wasn't much younger when I tried to watch this. Like I said a couple years ago, but honestly, maybe it was like last year.
Side note, we moved to a new apartment, and there's a ton of spiders.
It's
like,
kind of
everywhere. There was one that like went up the wall, and then I lost it behind like the door sill. But then it went into a hole, and I put the knife in the hole, and I just called it a day. And then I went back and I sat down on the couch, and 10 minutes later,
came back with a vengeance.
and he came back chasing me. But we killed it then, and so far
there was one that played dead, and I almost sat on it, and Wes was like, "Oh, well, don't just grab it, like don't just get rid of it like that, because they do play dead." And I was like, "No, you're lying. They don't do that." And this mother was.
She didn't know that spiders play dead, and I learned that when I was younger because I saw a quote unquote dead spider, and I went for it. And then I went back to like go hit it, and then it flipped over and it ran away. And ever since then, I was like, ingrained in my brain. I'm like, when you see a spider, if it's not in a bunch of squished pieces, it's not dead. It's still alive. Especially so, the best way to look out for a spider playing dead is the spider's on its back and it has its legs curled up inwards. Because think about it, how would that have spider died?
I mean, if it was poisoned.
Yeah,
it
but
just crawled up and died.
Exactly, and we're just assuming we poisoned the house. We didn't. And it's unlikely that you're going to see a quote-unquote dead spider that's on its back, specifically on its back, and its legs fully intact, curled inwards. That's a spider playing dead. Anyway, it was on the sofa, and it hopped up and it started running, just like I predicted.
Yeah. It was super terrifying.
But
I'm glad I know now.
But also remember, having spiders is better than having like gross bugs.
I mean, I know spiders. They're the good bugs that eat other bugs. So I get it, but they're so creepy.
Yeah, it's because of this movie, Arachnophobia, that put fears in everybody.
Yeah, well, I think my fear of spiders started when I was a child. When I had like these. I don't know what you would call them. They were like slip-on shoes, but they weren't sandals. So they had like the front cover, so my toes are covered all the way up to like where my ankle starts, kind of. So you can slip in like that, and it has a cover. Does that make sense? Does that make sense, audience? Okay.
I think. Oh, I answered for them. Yes.
So I slid my foot into one of those, and because it has the little cover, I obviously couldn't see into my shoe. And as a kid, you don't think to check inside your shoe. Anyways, there was a giant spider. Like I put my foot in and I felt something, and it didn't feel like a spider at first because I just like poked it with my toe, and I was just like, oh, that's weird, there's something in here. So I picked my shoe up, dump it, and this big ass spider was in there, and ever since then I just feared them.
I think we fear spiders not only because of movies and media and stuff, but because they're fast. Because like if there was like a big ant on you, it'll probably hurt more and leave more of a pain than a spider bite. Granted, I haven't had a ton of spider bites, but the ones I've had were really small. But the ant bites that I've gotten were always terrible.
They always suck.
They were always terrible.
Fire ants are so itchy.
Yes. So, it's not that different than an ant. But, 8 legs, 8 eyes. I guess we also perceive them as a little smarter than ants. Like, ants are just, like, running for food. And the spider's, like, this crafty predator who's like making webs and waiting and has patience,
flies into its web,
right? And probably the patience, you're like, oh, if that insect has patience, it's smart in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah. So
hopefully this movie's good and it curbs our fear of arachnophobia.
I think it's going to make my fear worse. I think I'm gonna see these killer spiders and just be
So we'll see. This movie's an hour and 40 minutes. So put it on, you watch it with us. We're gonna be streaming this live. I'm just kidding, but if that's something that one of the 4 of you like, one of our 4 listeners,
your family and
or friend.
And friend. One friend.
And friend. And they don't even listen all the way. They're like, oh, I listened to the first half, but then I got to work and it was more important to work. And
yeah, we see those analytics, guys. We know how much you're listening.
Yeah, we know when you peter off. We know.
And I'm like, let's make longer podcast episodes.
Right?
People don't even listen for 10 minutes. I'm still like, let's make them an hour. Hours are good at long.
People love those hour podcasts. Do you guys love the hour podcast? Leave us a voicemail on Anchor, please. Use that feature. It's an interesting feature.
Oh, that's cool. I didn't know you could do that.
Yeah. Philip DeFranco does it. That's how he gets his voice. On his podcast, he listens to the voicemails. And he listens to it on the Proco, which is an art podcast I listen to also does that. They answer voicemails. It's a very I made fun of it at first, but I think it's a really neat feature. So leave us
voicemails.
Leave us a voicemail on Anchor, on the Anchor page, please, and we'll play it here, and then you can be, get your 15 minutes of fame amongst our 4 to 5 listeners. And you're one of them, so it's probably like 3 to 4. So
also check out, we have an Instagram now to keep y'all updated and I don't know, fun stuff, but it's at nostalgia rewind, so check us out there.
I mean, we'll figure out what we're gonna put on there. Maybe we'll put some more art, and when we went to scary movies, we could have posted it on there, or posted pictures from when we went to the pop-up museum of scary movies.
Yeah.
So
we'll be posting fun stuff on there, and just the announcements for each episode and what episodes to come, and maybe we'll do polls on there or something. You can do that on Instagram, right? I don't know.
Yeah, I think so.
For what you guys want us to watch, review, whatever. Anyways, let's I feel like we're getting way off track here. So,
all right,
we're gonna watch the movie.
Here we go.
Woo.
Woo! Woo!
I don't know why I went Mickey. Alright, so we've just finished the movie, and of course, before we get started, spoilers.
Spoilers for a 30-year-old movie. Sorry.
Yeah. So it was a fun movie.
I thought it was a fun movie.
It's very uncomfortable because of how much I still hate spiders.
It definitely felt like a Steven Spielberg movie, if that makes any sense. He
produced it, right?
He produced it, but he didn't direct it or write it or anything. But it definitely had his touch to it. I was expecting a campy movie, but no, we got a serious movie about a spider from South Africa that hitches a ride. Oh, South America. Venezuela, to be exact. That hitched a ride and then landed in a small town where Jeff Daniels moved from San Francisco, moved his whole family to live a simpler life, and the spider sets its home base in the barn of
Jeff Daniels.
Jeff
Who
Daniels
is has arachnophobia.
Yeah, he has arachnophobia. The poster that looks all fantasy-like, it still doesn't do it justice, because this was a pretty terrifying movie. Not horrifying, but pretty terrifying. There's like spiders everywhere, and they all like to jump and bite.
Yeah. And even if you're not terrified of spiders, like, it's still like just creepy because there's so many of the spiders, and they're towards the ending scene or whatever, there's just like a million spiders that come out of nowhere in Jeff Daniels' house, and it almost seems like they all just purposely came out at the same time to attack Jeff Daniels and his family.
They did. They're smart.
Yeah.
They're conscious. They're from Venezuela.
And it's gross. It's creepy. There's a lot of close-up shots of these spiders. And,
a lot.
And they're gross.
It's kind of like the close-up shots from SpongeBob, where you see they see SpongeBob and
it's all realistic.
They do a close-up and it's like highly detailed. It was like that with the spiders' faces.
Yeah. So it's like, ugh. It's gross and creepy, and spiders, and like the whole time we're watching this movie, I just kept feeling like something was crawling on me, and like the fan would hit my hair and it would hit my face, and I'd be like, oh, thinking it's a spider.
Yeah, they get to the town, and he's like, Jeff Daniels is gonna get the clientele of the old doctor there, since it's a small town. There's only like one main doctor, and he decides not to retire, so Jeff Daniels is basically not gonna get that clientele.
Yeah, moved here, bought a house. And now he has no job.
But then people start dying 3 in a row, and nobody. The main doctor is just blaming Jeff Daniels, and Jeff Daniels is called Dr. Death.
Yeah, because he was the last person to evaluate these people right before they died. Yeah. So he instantly got a bad rep.
For one of them was one of the like football players in I think high school, and he had to do like that exam where like. The doctor comes, the physical, yeah. So they examined it, and then the kid dies, and then they blame him, and then the last person to see the first woman who dies was
him. He's not the last person that sees her, but he was the last person to examine her, last doctor to examine her, and he takes her off of her blood pressure medicine because he's like, oh, you really don't need these. And then the old school doctor was like, well, didn't you see that she was hypertension and
he's like, nah, there's 2 types of hypertension and you're wrong, old man.
Yeah, but the old man still was like, you pretty much killed this woman. And then the old man got bit by a spider. So satisfying because this old man was just such a like he was so rude to everybody, and
he was at the funeral basically telling the people, the family and the friends of the person that died, it's like, yeah, the last person who saw him was Jennings, which is Jeff Daniels' character. And it was just kind of shitty at a funeral to be like, yeah, just know that it wasn't me, it was this other dude, he's killing people.
Yeah. And then also refuses to let anybody do an autopsy because he's, I don't know.
He just doesn't want to. It's a small town, and you have to take care of the feelings of the small town instead of trying to figure out what the exact cause of death was.
Dumb. And you don't even need to tell anybody that you're doing the autopsy. Like, just do it and call it a day. It's not like anybody sees it. It's not like you like look at the corpse in the funeral and be like, oh, I can tell there's an autopsy done. Like, it's not how.
Definitely not.
It's not going to bother anybody. Just do it. These small town mentalities.
Yeah. So then he goes in there and he has arachnophobia, and he got the arachnophobia. He got the phobia of spiders when he was like a baby in a crib. Like Daddy Longlegs went in there and he was petrified and it touched his naked skin. Woe is me. I remember when I was 4 years old. And, you know, I guess that's when the phobias start, of course.
Yeah, he said it was his first memory. So, I mean, I can understand why that would be... why he's so terrified if something like that so young happened.
Yeah. And then the spider that came from Venezuela is the male spider. And the male spider reproduces, but without, you know, a mate, right? And then it just reproduces drones or soldiers. So it was.
And then it created a queen spider?
And it created the queen spider by doing it with a normal spider. So it was a hybrid of this Venezuelan spider and normal spider, and it has that venom kills you within like 10 seconds. It goes into you.
Super instant.
And you like die and stuff.
And then with this queen spider now existing, she makes her own babies, not the ones that are already around town.
Yeah. Because
those are the soldiers, quote unquote. But so she has her egg sac, and these are the babies that like will reproduce. So it's like impertinent that they... Am I using that word correctly?
Pertinent, yeah.
Okay. That they get rid of these... this egg sac. And, of course, the queen and the general.
Yeah. And then a fun character that's in there is John Goodman's character. He's like the... I don't want to say... He's not dopey, but he's like...
He's the pest control guy.
He's the pest control guy, but kind of like a talker. He just talks a lot. And he thinks...
He knew what he was talking about when it came to spiders and stuff like that. Like,
yeah, and he thinks he's a hot shot. Like, yeah, I'm bad. And every time he comes on and he's in the scene, he has his own theme music. And the theme music was like a fun,
it sounds
the jazzy saxophone.
It sounded to me like it should have been in like a Peanuts episode. Like when Charlie Brown walks out with Linus, that music would be playing. It felt very much like the Peanuts.
It did. So his character,
a lot of fun.
Yeah, his character was a lot of fun. At the end, he ends up using like the heavy duty stuff, but it's like acid that was like burning wood. Like smoke was coming out of the spiders and the wood. Like, I'm sure that's not legal, but if it burns through the wood, it burns through skin. But he was just shooting at all the spiders. Like, pss, 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 pss,
it was the only thing that was working though. He tried using the other stuff, and that did not kill that spider at all. Yeah. He had to step on that one spider, so. He had to go for the big guns, you know?
I thought his character's a lot of fun.
Yeah. Loved his theme music.
Loved this theme music. The spiders look pretty good. Like, whoever the spider wrangler on the movie.
Can you imagine your title being Spider Wrangler? Like, it just sounds
And they did a good
funny.
job. In one of the scenes, you could see the spider was attached to a string and that they were moving him around.
Yeah. I think that's common with insects, though, because you can't train insects the same way that you do.
100%.
Animals.
Yeah.
But it was still funny.
It was funny.
Being able to see that.
There was a scene where Jeff Daniels is trying to kill, I guess it's the mother spider. It's probably the mother. Maybe the king or queen, whatever. Killing one of the big spiders, which is huge, you know, like the size of like 2 shoes or whatever. 2'9" size, whatever. So it's 2 shoes, and Jeff Daniels lights the spider on fire, and then it was still on fire, jumps out of the flames, and then runs and leaves a trail of like flames, but the flames are like 2 lines, so it kind of looked like the Back to the Future flame
when the car goes off.
Yeah, going off into the future, and I'm pretty sure that has to be like some sort of homage to like Back to the Future.
Maybe, or it was just funny because it was very, very comical. So somebody was just like,
"Do you think this movie was made to be comical?" I think this movie was made to be 100% serious.
I don't think so. No, I don't think so.
No.
I think they were doing like, yes, it was a serious movie, but they added little comedic things. Like, why else would John Goodman have that theme music?
Because he's the comic relief in a movie, like any movie. Other than that, it's supposed to be kind of like a serious movie. Like, that spider coming out of the flames and running and leaving a flame trail is terrifying. I mean, it was funny, though.
I think it was supposed to be more comical. Or like how he and the spider had a standoff.
I mean, that's true.
End, right before he flung him into the fire.
This is what the director's commentary is for. He'll be like, no, this is 100% serious. I was trying to...
I mean, it's listed as a comedy. I don't know if...
Okay.
It's listed as a comedy,
it's also listed
fantasy, horror.
It's listed as a fantasy, which I find funny, because the only fantasy part is that we haven't seen spiders that big. But other than that, everything else...
Or spiders that can kill you instantly.
There are spiders with neurotoxins that'll kill you pretty quickly.
Yeah, but not like 10 seconds. Like, if in this world with these spiders, if you get bit by it, there's no saving you. Whereas in our world today, if you get bit by the worst spider... You have like an hour or something. Yeah, well, that's still an hour.
Yeah.
That's still potential to save your life. You're not saving yourself in this movie. Like, you're donezo.
Spider fans, please let us know what the fastest toxin is, or venom.
Yeah.
What else? So... Overall, that's what the movie was. Like, it was an hour and 40 minutes of just like...
It was a little slow getting into it. It's almost a 2-hour movie.
Yeah. It took about 30 minutes to get to the point where we know the conflict, we know the characters. And honestly, my rule...
cut that in half, right?
My rule is 14, 15 minutes. I need to know exactly where we're going, what's happening, and why I care.
Yeah. So it was a little slow pace to set up this whole world of spiders. So I think there was something that we probably could have cut out or at least shortened. But once it starts happening, once people start getting bit, it's a nice ride.
It is a nice ride. I definitely recommend this movie. I'm surprised. I don't know why I'm surprised, but I'm surprised that it's a decent movie. Jeff Daniels is great in it. And yeah, what else? There might have been other... Let's think of another moment.
I don't know. I'm just thinking about all those... I was going to say ants, but all those spiders covering...
Oh, yeah.
The house.
Those, one at the end when the spiders all start coming out and basically going after Jeff Daniels. It's crazy because he didn't get by a single one, but they were on him. They were on him. They were all over the house.
Super close.
But the 3 people that died in the town just instantly dead.
Yeah.
Touched them, dead.
Yeah. Oh, what got me was when they go to the old woman's house, the lady that dies first, who they blame the doctor for taking her off her medicine. They're looking for a spider because they have to catch a live specimen to show the spider expert dude from the beginning who originally went to Venezuela. Yeah. And when they're in there, the sheriff decides to grab a box of cereal and just starts eating it. Okay, first of all, this box of cereal was just left open. The top of it, the cardboard wasn't folded over and closed. The bag wasn't rolled up. So, like, immediately I'd be like, I'm not gonna stick my hand in there. Because even if there wasn't a spider in there, like, it was just open. And what if there's rats?
Or anything.
There's food.
It's also a dead person's food that you're in there eating.
Yeah, and it's just weird. Like, it's just... You can't wait till after the spider hunting to go eat. Anyways, And, of course, when he's eating it, there's a dead spider.
Which is so gross.
Yeah.
Gross.
Super, super gross. And then also the one couple, the guy that runs the morgue and his wife, who plays Mimi from the Drew Carey Show.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. They eat the spider? That's what's implied? Like, the spider was in their popcorn?
Well, she takes a handful of it, and with the handful, takes the spider. Yeah. So she could have got bit in the hand, and then it jumped to the husband and
That's true. But when Jeff Daniels and everybody else gets there, the spider is coming out of the dude's nose. It was gross. Ugh. So I don't know if, I guess they didn't eat it. Maybe they didn't. I don't know. Oh, that was another thing. After everybody that gets bit by this spider, and this includes the bird that picked up the spider in the beginning to carry it all the way over to Jeff Daniels' house, they get a drop of blood.
It's just one drop
that comes out one side of their mouth, and it's only one side. It's only a tiny droplet just to see that they were poisoned. Like, this is the indicator to let you know that they were poisoned. But even the crow that just dropped dead from the sky,
has one little droplet of blood out of the beak
on one side of its beak. Like,
it's like comical. It is. It's comical, but in a way, I'm like, is it comical, or is that like a Steven Spielberg-y way to like, don't leave the audience behind, leave that droplet of blood, and we'll know it was the spider always. Like, it's the indicator. I mean, it was comical though. That bird with the little blood on the mouth, like, oh man.
I think we're not idiots. Like, they didn't have to put the drop of blood. We saw
Steven Spielberg thinks you're an idiot.
Well,
that's why he made millions.
Suck it. I don't like being treated like an idiot. But we all knew that you see the bird pick up the spider and then see it drop dead. We can deduce that the spider bit him in the air, or her. It could have been a girl bird. And then that's what killed it. I didn't need to see the drop of blood. The drop of blood is there because it's funny.
It was all right. It was funny. It was humorous. Yeah, and then Jeff Daniels' like passion is to like have wine or a wine cellar.
Yes.
And
but not to drink, just
to collect wine, which I guess you can't hate on because people collect stamps, and nobody's mailing stuff with the stamps.
Yeah. But I guess what gets me with this one is that, like, in the beginning when they're moving, Jeff Daniels was like, "Oh, be careful with that," and then he opens up the box and shows it to the mover, and he's like, "Oh yeah, this is a whatever
Chateau,
year, yeah,
1800s or whatever,
from the year Jesus was born." And the guy's like, "Does it taste any good?" And he's like, "At $100 and something, it's too expensive to taste." So like, what you're spending, you dropped close to $150 or whatever it was
in 1990s money.
Yeah, on a bottle of wine that you're not gonna open. He could have died with these spiders, which is why in the end of the movie they show him drinking it. He's opening it. I think he realized, like, let's just enjoy life here. But it took him being just overrun by spiders to finally be like, okay, I'll drink this $100 bottle of wine.
And they moved back, right?
Yeah, they moved back to San Francisco.
They moved back from San Francisco. They bought a house. They did everything, and they moved back to San Francisco. And he's like, yeah, let's go back here and deal with things that are actually in our control. And then it ends with San Francisco having an earthquake.
Yeah. So, would I rather take the spiders?
Or random earthquakes?
I don't know. We're getting both of them here.
Yeah. As we said earlier, a lot of spiders in this place. Of all different breeds, too. They've all been different colors.
They have been. Lots of daddy long legs.
Those are fine.
Yeah, I let them be. We actually have a daddy long leg that hangs out in the corner of our room.
He's our daddy in our room.
That's weird.
It is.
But he's there. He's been there since we moved in. I don't think he's dead. He's just stuck to that web.
Just like, right? And he just stays there?
Yeah. I don't know. How long can they live without moving?
2 weeks. That's totally a number I pulled out my butt.
Well, he's been there longer than that. For sure.
So overall, Arachnophobia is pretty good. I definitely suggest it. It's a good watch. Jeff Daniels. It's a nice short movie.
Time. It is still creepy and unsettling.
If you don't like spiders, it will kind of be creepy because they are everywhere and there's lots of spiders and some real, some animatronic. And the animatronic looks all right.
It did look pretty good. I didn't know it was animatronic.
So spiders, little story to tell. He gets over his fear. Spoiler alert.
He did. He
fights. There's basically a boss scene, like a Marvel boss fight with
between Jeff Daniels and the general spider.
And the spider, yeah. And it looks interesting because it's like he's a giant. He's giant Ant-Man going against like this little. So in a way, I'm almost rooting for the spider. And side note, like they said that once the male's over here and it's been isolated in Venezuela, but now that it has free place to roam, it can spread and destroy town after town. So basically, the difference between the only thing stopping in this world. Stopping from civilization to crash is just putting one of the spiders from Venezuela in the middle of the city.
World, yeah.
And then that's all it takes for civilization to just crash and burn.
Yeah.
I wonder how many insects or animals are out there that if we did do that would destroy all of like humanity.
Right. Also, when they went and got that spider, so they go to Venezuela and they go down to like the trenches, not trench, I don't know, what is it called? Cavern. A
cliffs,
canyon?
a valley.
Okay, so they go into this valley canyon, whatever. That's like 1,000 feet down or some nonsense, and they set up their little bug trap thingies, and then they just douse this giant ass tree with poison. And
the way they do the poison, it looks like a leaf blower, except it looks like a metal and a gun. It's like a specially designed tool because all it's made for is to throw out smoke, air.
Yeah,
it's weird.
And when we were first watching it, I was like, oh, okay, so they like just knock these bugs out, right? So they can capture them and like study them and whatever. Because they're making jokes. They're like, oh, look, we discovered a new butterfly and we discovered this and that, whatever. No, they were straight up killing them. Like
beautiful butterflies.
Yeah.
Just all falling from the tree.
There was hundreds of them because it was a big ass tree. And there was just tons of them. And then this is when they first get the spiders because the spiders drop, but the poison doesn't kill the spider. But he even says, he's like, oh yeah, the spiders, they should be dead. This could knock out whatever. And then the spider gets up, and that's just terrible.
It's humans.
They killed so many butterflies and other bugs I don't care about. But the butterflies,
praying mantises, beetles.
I guess that's bad too.
We only remember as humans, we only care about the pretty people and the pretty bugs. So the pretty bugs, the butterflies, were like, oh no.
Yeah, those spiders could have been dead.
But then the praying mantis or any other insect from that makes up the food chain, we're like, nah, it's fine. It can die.
Okay.
No, I get it. We're shallow and we want to like pretty things.
Well, I know that they're a necessity.
Let the pretty people die. Am I right?
I know they're.
Yeah, the ugly people are a necessity.
Look, all right, you're not wrong. They
spiders are needed too.
Not those ones that are gonna wipe out the world.
All right, fine.
And those weren't even dying from the poison. Whatever. Anyways, these guys were terrible. They were just killing hundreds of bugs, maybe even thousands of bugs. So, like I said, giant tree. And, that's garbage. I don't understand because they needed, like, live specimens of the spider. But they're totally cool with dead bugs for everything else.
Right?
Yeah. And also, was he just a bug collector? Like, what was that guy's
I think
profession?
I think his profession, he was specifically looking for spiders, so he used the smoke to try and get the spider out, but in turn he kills a shit ton of butterflies and other bugs to get that spider. Because the other people were collecting the butterflies. He was just collecting the spiders.
Okay. I thought all those people were there working for him though.
I mean, yeah, but I bet in a situation like that you get a deal where you get them the butterflies as long as you can get the spiders. And he funds the expedition. Because in the microscope he was only looking at spiders. And the people who were dealing with the butterflies were just the other people. Putting them in bags and stuff.
I mean, he was looking at the butterflies too because he made the joke to the photographer about naming it after him.
Alright, so maybe he's a bug guy specializing in spiders.
Okay. Or
whatever.
Who knows?
Who knows?
Maybe he was just interested in this one. But yeah, they're a bunch of assholes. They killed a bunch of bugs that weren't bothering nobody. No how, no nothing.
No nothing.
Yeah, I can't think of anything else. It was a fun time though. I'm especially considering how much I don't enjoy spiders. I'm surprised at how much I enjoyed that movie.
Definitely not a campy movie like Eight-Legger Freaks. So definitely just a nice,
that's
serious.
a B movie.
This one's like a B plus, an A, an A
minus,
A minus, of seriousness and fantasy.
Serious. Yeah,
I guess.
I guess the fantasy is the spider that doesn't exist.
Right.
I don't know. But yeah, fun time. Check it out if you've never seen it, or give it a rewatch if you have. Still, mostly good.
Mostly.
Yeah. So let's go into some trivia.
Let's do trivia. Trivia time.
Alright, so the small spiders used in the film were Avondale spiders, which is a harmless species from New Zealand that were provided by Land Care Research in Auckland. Despite their fierce appearance, the spider is a docile member of the crab spider family and are, in fact, harmless to humans.
That's interesting. So, like, if an Australian watched this movie, they're like, "Oh," I'm not gonna do an Australian accent, but
First of all,
there's harmless
you're
bugs.
offending everybody right now because it's not Australia; it's New Zealand.
Oh, I'm sorry, the Kiwis.
Yes, not the Aussies.
Not the.
We're sorry for his ignorance.
I'm so sorry. So a
New Zealand.
a New Zealander, a New Zealandite, watching the movie would be like, "Oh, I see those all the time. That's not scary at all. They're running away from what essentially is Daddy Long Legs to them."
Right. They were not allowed back in New Zealand for quarantine reasons. Interesting. It doesn't elaborate on that, but spiders, I guess, just stayed here? I don't know. The giant spider used in the film was a species of a bird-eating tarantula, which attains an 8-inch leg span or more. Those type of tarantula are not easy to handle and can give a nasty bite. The spiders in the film were managed and handled by famed entomologist Stephen R. Kutcher. Good job, bro.
Good job, Stephen R. Kutcher. And also, a bird-eating spider is ridiculous.
Yeah, 8-inch leg span? That's awful. Like,
yeah, that spans most people's feet.
Yeah.
Like the whole foot.
Yeah. Okay. The animatronic General Spider, seen at the film's climax, was one of the earliest prop jobs done by Mythbusters' Jamie Hyneman.
Oh, wow, Jamie did it.
Yeah.
Good job, Jamie.
Which one's Jamie?
Not the bald one.
Okay.
He has a YouTube channel and he's always making stuff.
Hey,
like,
yeah,
he recently made the Walkman from Guardians of the Galaxy.
That's really fun. Yeah, I've seen some of his videos.
He just makes props. Mm-hmm. He's really good.
Yeah.
So, wow, one of Jamie's first or earlier projects.
Yeah. The sound of a spider being crushed by John Goodman was made by the Foley artist crushing a couple of potato chips. I always love Foley stuff. It's so crazy the different things that they'll use for...
Yeah, speaking of Foley, when the spiders would come out, there was a couple times they used rattlesnake noises, like
they did, yeah.
And then every time,
hissing,
and every time the spiders attacked, it was always like. I don't think spiders hiss. I mean, I don't know about these big spiders, but I'm pretty sure a spider.
Maybe some of them. I don't know. I've never seen these bird-eating spiders. Whoa.
That was a big spider that landed. Yeah, there was just a lot of hissing, and then the rattlesnake noise, of course. Yeah, and it's just interesting because, like, for a second, I didn't think anything of it when I heard the rattlesnake noise. And then I thought about it more. I'm like, why is there a rattlesnake noise for this spider?
Yeah, it's definitely odd.
It's a universal fear, that's why. It's like that's true. Built into our DNA to hear that and be like, oh.
Very true. The safety of the spiders was paramount throughout the entire production. So for one scene where McLintock, John Goodman's character, had to spray an arachnid with insecticide, then squash it with his boot, the production went to extreme measures. First, a dummy spider was sprayed. Then John Goodman donned special boots with a hollowed-out sole for the squash shot so that the spider would just curl up inside and wait for the next take.
I was thinking about that because when he was gonna step on it, they did cut right at the moment of squishing. I noticed, and I'm like, oh, I wonder if they didn't harm the spider.
That's so funny. Because in my mind, spiders are disgusting, and I don't worry about the harm of them. Kill them all.
Yeah.
Okay, I mean, don't kill them all. We need them. I get it, but...
Sure. Kill those butterflies too, why not?
No, they're pretty.
Oh, yeah, the pretty people live.
It's the first film released under Disney's Hollywood Pictures label, which was also created so the studio could release more adult-oriented fare.
Look at that, the first
So that's
Disney...
why that poster feels Disney-esque, maybe?
That makes a lot of sense. That poster just feels like a Disney thing.
That's so funny.
Called it.
Yeah, without even knowing. Though Jeff Daniels claimed that he was fine with small spiders, he acknowledged that anyone in his right mind would have issues with spiders as huge as Big Bob. I'm assuming they called the general one Big Bob.
Yeah. It's unnatural, I say.
Yeah. But John Goodman wasn't fazed. I don't have any problem, he said. We see each other eye to eye well. 2 eyes to their 16. But we get along swell.
Brave man. Good actor.
The species in the film are eusocial, with a hierarchy reminiscent of ants and bees. In reality, there is no species of spider that is purely eusocial. Most spiders are solitary, with only a handful of species living in groups.
Yeah.
That makes sense. I've never seen a bunch of...
Yeah, having soldiers and...
I mean, yeah. I figured that was all made up, but I've never seen, like, a horde of spiders. The daddy long legs that hang out outside.
Yeah.
There's, like, 2 of them.
A horde of them. Yeah. 2.
Marshall meant for the film to be like Alfred Hitchcock's The Birds, and added, people like to be scared, but laughing like a roller coaster. No one wants to be terrified. So it was supposed to be funny. It was
supposed to be funny. I concede to your point. This movie was also made to be funny. You're right. I just kept thinking, like, man, it's the 90s. They're trying to take themselves serious.
Nope. Not at all. Kanamea is the name of the avenging spirit of the Guyana Indians. It's also the name of the area in Venezuela where the beginning of the movie was filmed, and home to the world's tallest waterfall, Angel Falls.
Nice.
And that was the name of the town.
Angel Falls?
No. Kanamea or whatever.
Oh, yeah. What an interesting... That's so nice. It would be nice to see one of the tallest waterfalls.
I'm sure it's beautiful. Amazing.
Yeah.
The production required 2 species of spider. The first, the arachnid that hitches a ride from South America to California, needed to measure about 1 foot across. The filmmakers found their star in a bird-eating tarantula native to the Amazon. There was only 1 such spider in the United States. Frank Marshall named that spider Big Bob, after director Robert Zemeckis. The production team painted purple stripes on the back of Big Bob and added a prosthetic abdomen to give him greater bulk. They painted a spider?
Guess so. With spider-safe paint, they found the engineers Michaels or Joanne Fabrics.
Sure. Also, that's funny, naming it after Robert Zemeckis.
They do that a lot in Hollywood. It's like, I'm going to name this character after my worst critic and kill him in my movie.
What was that in?
Not Shape of Water. The M. Night Shyamalan movie.
Oh, yeah.
What's it called? Lady in the Water. Yeah, Lady in the Water. He named the critic after his worst critic or something.
That's right. When dead spiders were needed, the filmmakers used bodies of arachnids that had died of natural causes. Aww.
So they said. So Hollywood says. And we believe Hollywood 100%.
I mean, I don't know. In that movie, Milo and Otis, do you know how many little kitties and pugs died?
Exactly. All I'm saying is, some executives like, we need 20 dead spiders or you're fired. And some PAs like, yeah, it died of natural causes, all right.
When Jeff Daniels came on board to play Dr. Ross Jennings, Arachnophobia was a serious horror movie. One that Daniels told Philadelphia's Daily News was pretty formulaic. You could tell that the lines were kind of written by computer, he said. He and Frank Marshall were hoping for a more ironic tone, so the script went through several revisions, and the filmmakers studied Hitchcock's films and Jaws to get the tone right. One key change, Daniel's character was given a fear of spiders. Wow, so originally he wasn't going to be afraid of spiders.
Wow. It's
I feel
funny.
like you needed him to be afraid of spiders.
So it's interesting. Like, even in the 90s, when the internet was barely becoming a thing in the everyday home and stuff, people were like, this was written by a computer. A stupid computer. And even now we're like, oh, goddamn computers. The computers is like such the easy to like, oh, this is uncreative and stupid. Computers.
Right.
It's computers, all right.
While there really are species of spiders that live in colonies, none of these are male-dominated colonies, nor do they have a singular queen like ants or bees. Another point in this favor is that the reason common arachnids and other creatures that use an exoskeleton are not the size of houses is that they would collapse under their own weight. The scene at the beginning where the scientists use a numbing agent to collect specimens. Oh, so they're saying it's a numbing agent.
Alright, so they didn't kill those butterflies.
Well, I don't know. In the movie, he even says the spider should be dead, so...
They said it in the movie, yeah.
But they're saying it's a numbing agent here. Whatever. Numbing agent to collect specimens, would have resulted in quite a few spider bodies that were missing legs. Dropping a tarantula a distance of more than 2 feet causes it to shatter. These spiders fell from a tree easily 100 feet tall. In short, none would have lived. Also, insects and other bugs breathe through their skin. Only in the distant past was there sufficient oxygen for giant insects to exist. The general is only about the size of a Goliath bird eater. That's the spider I was thinking of, and I couldn't remember
Goliath
earlier.
bird eater.
One of the largest known tarantula species, only beat by the huntsman in leg span. Now it's telling me to look up pictures. No IMDb.
No.
So maybe that's why he said the spider would be dead, because he knew that the spider would have collapsed or would have.
I think we're giving a little bit too much credit, but yeah, I guess that makes sense.
Maybe. I don't know. If he's supposed to be a spider expert like they make him out to be, then he would have known that when it fell.
See, spiders are so scary, but so fragile.
It's normally how things work out. Roy Brocksmith, who plays the morgue attendant, also acted in the cult movie Killer Fish, which also centers on a deadly natural creature that derives from a jungle setting. In that case, it was a piranha.
It's a piranha. Oh yeah, piranha. It's like piranha horror movie. Is that? Did he make? Wait, what did he make?
Are you even listening when I talk?
Were you talking? Edit this out.
Nope. It was called Killer Fish.
Killer Fish. Okay.
Yeah.
From outer space.
Nope, from the jungle.
Oh, okay. Well, this doesn't seem like a fun movie.
Frank Marshall saved the shooting of Arachnophobia's climatic fight scene between Jeff Daniels and the General until the very end of production, after all the other actors have been sent home. The scene, which involved fire, explosions, and many smashed bottles of fine wine, took 2 weeks of 13-hour days to shoot. Daniels spent 2 of those days pinned under a 250-pound wine rack, hurling bottles of wine at Big Bob while under strict instructions to not hit the spider, and in fact, always misses it by 3 feet or more.
Wow. So
2 weeks.
So this scene, basically, it's at the end. It lasts about 4 or 5 minutes.
I'd say maybe a little longer.
I mean, but the bulk of it, that takes a long time when all the actors are gone.
Yeah.
So 45 minutes was 2 weeks of 12-hour days, and we just seen it in like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Pretty crazy how much work that is.
That's a lot of work.
That's where that budget goes.
Mm-hmm. Sheriff Parsons leaves the Jennings barn to drive back to the mortuary and is not seen again. Stuart Pankin stated in an interview that his character was killed by a spider while driving and crashed his cruiser. The scene was filmed but didn't make it into the final cut of the film.
Who leaves?
The sheriff. Because you know when the sheriff and the spider dude go to the barn and then he's like, go to the mortuary and get him, and he leaves?
Yeah.
And we never see him again.
Wow. Yeah, that's right.
He was a terrible person anyway, so whatever. He was kind of a dick.
Lloyd? No.
Oh, the sheriff.
Who's the sheriff?
The one sheriff. He was the one that was eating cereal from the dead lady's house.
That's Lloyd, yes.
Okay, sure. Whatever. Sheriff.
I thought that was just a normal cop for a while. I didn't know he was like a sheriff. Anyway,
Yeah.
Lloyd.
It's a small town. They don't have cops. They have sheriffs.
Florida are all sheriffs.
No, it is not. You say this all the time, and it's not. There were sheriffs in Osceola County because they are not a city. They don't have a police department. So there's a sheriff that covers all of Osceola County, whereas when you have police, they cover one city. Like here in Burbank, there's the police, the Burbank police. Glendale has the Glendale police because it's a city, it has their own.
Type subscribe for Florida facts. Okay, fine.
So he was a sheriff because it's a small town.
Yes. Wow. So his scene, he was supposed to die, but they didn't show it.
Yeah.
And I kind of would have liked it.
Yeah, I would have liked to have seen that
because he's a jerk.
He was. I didn't like his character. Him and that old man doctor. So that's why when that old man doctor died, I was like, yes, revenge, justice, whatever. Okay. In the movie, Big Bob arrives in California and promptly mates with a house spider, creating super deadly offspring. To find the right arachnids for the job, Marshall and his team evaluated a number of species, including wolf spiders, tarantulas, and huntsman spiders, by putting them through a Spider Olympics, running each species through 10 tests, including speed, the faster the spider, the scarier it is, climbing ability, and reaction to heat and cold. The gold medalist, according to Frank Marshall, was the 3-inch wide Delana spider, a harmless but sinister-looking huntsman native to Australia that was introduced to New Zealand in the 1920s.
Interesting.
That's what we talked about earlier.
It's like spider auditions.
Right.
Except the acting is, can you run fast? Can you stand the heat? Can you stand the cold?
Yeah. Marshall joked that we got them all little passports, which was sort of true. The production did have to jump through hoops to bring 300 of the spiders to the U.S. for filming.
But Hollywood finds a way.
And that was just the initial shipment. Supplies were replenished every 2 weeks. So if this was a typical movie thing, so if it went
3 months?
Yeah. That's every 2 weeks, a shipment of 300 spiders.
So 6 shipments of 300 spiders. So almost 2,000 spiders.
That's insane.
Or it's 18,000, yeah.
Almost 2,000 spiders died for this movie. I'm assuming they died, because if they had to keep getting shipments, they were probably dying of...
I'm sure Hollywood wrote it off.
Causes.
Natural causes, exactly.
Nobody dies at Disney.
Nobody dies.
Not even the spiders. When Professor Atherton asks where the photographer of the spider's web hanging in Dr. Jennings' waiting room was taken, Sheriff Parsons tells him it's the old Daniels place that Dr. Jennings bought. Dr. Jennings was played by Jeff Daniels.
Oh,
we have fun
snap.
Here. And that is all the facts.
That's all the fun facts. So you heard our movie description, our review. You see the trivia facts. Do you have anything else to add?
No, it was a good time. I enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun.
It was a lot of fun.
Again, despite the spiders.
I hope you enjoyed this episode, Season 2 of Arachnophobia. Please leave us a voicemail for your suggestions. We are no longer taking suggestions through text or email. Do it through the voicemail on Anchor. I'm just kidding.
Who is sending you texts?
All our friends is like, you should watch this movie. That wasn't an imitation of anybody. I was just doing the high-pitched voice. No, please keep sending us that. But it would be nice to get a voicemail. But then we can play it here, and it's fun. We can bring up the production quality and value of this thing.
Yes. And also, again, don't forget to add us on Instagram at nostalgia.rewind.
Thank you.
For all the fun stuff we're going to put on there.
Like, subscribe. Go. This podcast is literally on every platform, so there's no reason not to hear it.
I think they already know if they're listening, though.
I guess. All right, I guess this is it then. All right. Until next time.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Ding, 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 ding.